Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Jake.
Sounds good, guys.
This is Mac. Danny's just excited. I love this. He's ready to go. This is fantastic.
we have a tiny bit of a delay that might be screwing with us here and there.
No,
But-
it's excitement. I like that better than just saying a delay.
Yeah. You're right. But today we are joined by men's light heavyweight bronze medalist and new USSF board member, Danny Avila. Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm solid, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. I don't know about you guys, but I got back from Utah and I have been sick ever since. And today is like the first day that I'm feeling okay.
What plane were you on? I was feeling fine.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, you had a pretty solid weekend. Danny. Like I said, you got bronze in light heavyweight. That included wins over Brandon Alexander, Mike Fields, Tyler Olson. Looks like the only guys that beat you are the guys that finished ahead of you, Cornelius and Jimmy Doyle.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, you did open weight. You actually took home a gold in the teams tournament with Jose. All around a pretty good comeback for you because you'd been out for a while. How did you think the weekend went for you?
I was more than happy, dude. I was honestly pretty surprised I did as well as I did. It was literally like I wasn't even gonna go to nationals until maybe the week prior. I went to my doctor's appointment because I was coming off a broken foot. I broke my foot in November, so I've been off. I've been competing in track and field and lifting, but I haven't been allowed to do any kind of wrestling. So like the week before nationals, my doctor was like, "Hey, you can do whatever you want, but take it easy." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do too much. I'm gonna go to nationals."
Yeah.
But
And
take
so I
it
booked
easy. Like, no, I'm just gonna go wrestle, man.
Yeah. Sumo's about as far from taking it easy as you get, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, this was your comeback
But
tournament.
I love it, man. So
Yeah. I mean, what we know about the guys who do sumo wrestling here, they don't do it because, they don't love it or anything, it's absolutely a passion. But yeah, this is a big comeback for you because you'd been away for a couple years with leukemia. Tell us a little bit about how how it feels to be back in the ring after like 2 whole years away.
Yeah, man. So the end of the summer 2019, going into my senior year of college, I was feeling pretty good. I was an all conference football player heading into my senior year, going to finish up my degree. I was working a solid security job, making good money. Just moved into a new apartment. Sumo wise, I was doing pretty good. I would say I was up there with maybe the top 3 or 4 heavyweights in the country at the time. And yeah, I got hit with a diagnosis in 2019. It was kind of a rough year. I did one tournament in between chemo cycles when I didn't have any tubes in my body. I had like a 6-week period. So I flew out to Philly, took a silver medal. I only lost to Robert that weekend. So it was just a nice pick me up in the middle of my treatment and stuff to get some sumo in and know I can still compete. And then it was a rough maybe year and a half. I had complications during the transplant. My kidneys, my liver, my pancreas failed at the same time. I was on dialysis for 8 months. I went into the transplant August 19th, 2021, and I weighed 337 pounds. In 2 months, I want to say it was like September like 1st or 2nd or something, I was 199 pounds.
Oh my God.
So so it was not a pretty sight. It was not a fun time in my life whatsoever. But I was fortunate enough to have a good group of people around me. The federation was amazing. I had guys reaching out to me left and right, solid family support, and was able to get off dialysis, thank God. Able to get back to just living a normal life. Had to learn how to walk again, do all that kind of stuff. And right when I was getting into the swing of things, doing training and stuff, I did the U.S. Open in 2021 or 2022, 2021. It was November of 21. Did the U.S. Open, wasn't ready for it, so I got bullied a little bit. But like I want to say a week after that, during training, I broke my foot. So this was really like, to me, this was the first tournament back, healthy, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling confident, and I'm glad to be able to be in the ring again with all my friends. I'm glad to be around the community again, and I surprised myself with how well I did. I got the juices flowing again. I've been working out and training like crazy, and I can't wait for the next.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, man.
Yeah, that is a crazy story. I am not jealous whatsoever. I'll tell you that. But that is a hell of a hurdle to get over, and it's just. And then I broke my foot.
And then after all of that, you break your foot.
Yeah, I imagine that was like, you know what? Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Oh well, but no, it was. It
really was. I was like, well,
it was clearly a huge comeback.
I'm not supposed to do this, but
yeah,
fates be damned. I'm gonna do sumo.
Fates be damned. Yeah, yeah. We were talking ahead of the recording that it was like your doctor was like, okay, well you can do some more stuff, but take it a little easy, and you're like, all right, I'm going to sumo nationals.
How many heavyweights can I hit? How many pounds of force can I push against these guys? Well, let's find out. And my foot's okay? Yeah, it's not it's not broke. It's not flopping around. We're fine.
It's still attached and everything.
100%.
Yeah. Well, anyways, though, yeah. So you like we mentioned, you got third in light heavyweight. Cornelius ended up taking that division. We've oh yeah, if you're listening to this, make sure to check out our Instagram page, and on the USSF Facebook page, we've posted like the medalists and everything, like those results. You can also check out our YouTube channel for the full video replay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we wanted to make sure that we got somebody on here to talk a little bit about how the event itself went. Not just the results, but also like what it was like being at Fitcon and stuff like that. So, Danny, why don't you tell us a little more about like how did this tournament compare to like previous nationals that you've been at? Or I know generally nationals is smaller than the U.S. Open out there in LA, but it still seemed like a pretty fun big event having all those people from Fitcon.
It's going to be tough to compare it to the U.S. Sumo Open. That's a pretty big event.
That's true. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how did the day go? What did you feel like you got out of it beyond just the results in the ring?
You know what, man? Yeah, I mean, I don't really think anything can compare to like the roar of the crowd at the U.S. Open. That's really where like I think the majority of our fans get real juiced. But I mean, yeah, it was my first Fitcon, but I gotta say, I really love the energy of Fitcon. I think Fitcon does so much for the sport. Just us being around, meeting all these weird little niche groups of sports like us, just kind of finding their footing in the world, finding a following. And I think Fitcon was an awesome platform for us to do that, for some of the other guys to do that. I was, telling a couple of the guys I'm in group chats with, I'm getting on my plane coming to Fitcon, and there's a Viking getting on the flight with a helmet and shield. And I'm like, that guy's probably going to Fitcon.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we ended up
sweet.
We ended up linking up. We ended up linking up at Fitcon. He was doing armored combat. And yeah, man, but Fitcon was awesome. The energy was great. I loved how intimate the ring was. I loved how the crowd got into it. Little kids just seeing the glimmer in their eyes, watching big dudes go at it, small dudes go at it. It's such a crowd sport. And I think Fitcon really gave us that exposure that we've been needing. And it was just a fun event all around. It was good to walk around, see other companies and stuff like that. So I promote more nationals at Fitcon if we can.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the armored combat to get more of a feel for what Fitcon was like. We were sandwiched between medieval combat and like competitive
pro wrestling. We had pro wrestling going on to the right of us.
Yeah, there was arm wrestling on one side at one point, and then I think the main thing drawing the crowd over to our corner of the whole convention was the like the competitive lifting. Like powerlifting. And then but a bunch of people were like watching powerlifting, and then they turn and they're like, those guys sumo wrestling?
It's like, yeah, it's like, holy crap, that guy just got slammed.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ring itself, yeah, you mentioned it, it was kind of intimate. It was like we had maybe like a 30-foot square or so, and we had a bunch of chairs for the crowd in front. We had our couple tables running the tournament behind. But yeah, it was pretty packed in there. I'm glad nobody went through the fence or anything like that, getting tossed out of the ring.
Got a couple close calls on those matches, but nobody, at least nobody got hurt like that.
yeah, no kidding. But yeah, we went through all the weight classes that we had wrestlers attending, and we had plenty of time. So we went in after the open weights. We did a team tournament.
That was my absolute favorite. I mean, I love all the normal weight class events. I love seeing everybody compete, but this introduction of the teams matches, I think is just fantastic.
And Danny, you took first place with your teammate from Yamamoto Sumo Dojo. You took first place with Jose. Tell us a little bit more about how that team tournament went. It seemed a little bit less formal, like everybody was just kind of having fun.
Yeah, definitely a little less formal. I will definitely say I have superior partner picking skills. So when you pick a partner, you definitely want a guy that's medaled in the open and the heavy the past 2 years in a row. So
yeah, that helps.
But definitely. But no, me and Jose have good chemistry. And I know that in the practice room, we kind of build off of each other. And I knew we were going to do the same thing at the tournament. So it was awesome. We were able to pull that off. And it was just a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way that the team tournament worked was everybody paired up with another wrestler they wanted on their team. And one wrestler was number one wrestler was number two on each team. So when a team faced another team, the ones wrestled each other, then the twos wrestled each other. And if they went 1-1, then they would pick which one of their guys they wanted to go in for the tiebreaker match. So it was yeah, there was some fun little strategizing.
That was so great though.
But yeah, so we had like 8 teams or something like that. And we just rifled through it. Everybody was having fun. I'm pretty sure I remember Trent decided to spank Kelly when he took him down just to dick around.
And Tyler just looking amazing in his American wrestler mustache with those great trunks, just smashing into people. I'm like, this is just great.
Yeah. Is that I think Kelly mentioned it was something that he'd done before. Had you ever done a tournament like that, Danny?
No, I've never done a team tournament. I've definitely heard the idea of being thrown around. And every time it gets put on, people have a lot of fun. I think they did it at Fitcon, I want to say a couple years ago. And when they did it then, the teams are random. So it was like a random draw. You got your partner in a hat. And it was kind of exciting. So I really like the idea of a team tournament. It'd be awesome to see more of those pop up. But it's just fun. I think it really does kind of lighten the mood a little bit and allows you to compete against people that maybe you wouldn't compete against, in your regular bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar to open weight, you kind of just like get thrown in there, and what happens, and everybody's
the true essence of sumo wrestling, the open weight.
Yeah,
100%.
I think another factor was that we had plenty of time in our time slot. I know last year Nationals in Austin went on forever. There were so many people doing open weight that it was like, by the end of it, it was like, oh my God, can we go home?
So obviously you are passionate about sumo wrestling. What drew you into the sport? I love asking this question because everybody's story is so unique. What is yours?
You know what, dude? I'm a big guy that goes down the rabbit hole. Like, if I like something, I'm going to spend the next 3 or 4 days deep diving YouTube and Google to learn something about it. Like, if I have like a chip flavor, I'm learning about like different kinds of cheeses, where the cheeses are grown, what kind of cows are grown. You know what I mean? So it was
you
kind of
are a man after our own hearts. We were the exact same way. Continue.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, so you get your weird YouTube suggested clips, and lo and behold, here comes greatest sumo wrestler ever. It's Asa Shoru highlights. Ooh. And so there's like Japanese techno playing in the bathroom. It's Asa Shoru just destroying folks of all weights and sizes. His attitude, his movement, his power, everything was just like, wow, that guy's like an amazing athlete. So I did a deep dive on sumo. And if you're in America and you Google sumo wrestling, the first thing that up is USA Sumo. And so at the time, they were having practices in Van Nuys, California. I was living in Boyle Heights, like East LA area. And so it's like a maybe half an hour drive. So I was like, you know what, I could try that out. It was in the summer. I didn't really have anything going on. I was just working out. And I never got to wrestle in high school. So it's always something I've wanted to do and just never had a way to do it. So I went, tried it out. And at the time, the club was real small. It was like me, Andrew Freund, Takeshi Amatani was still there. He was the coach.
Nice.
Yeah, so Takeshi was like the first guy I ever wrestled, so that was a good time. And then it was like guys coming in and out, and then Justin Kizzard was a consistent presence.
Mm-hmm.
But it was small. It was maybe 4 of us in Van Nuys, and from the first practice, I fell in love with it, and it was something I did to supplement my football training. So like as soon as season was over for football, I drive out to sumo practice and then drive back to get my lift in for football. And it was just something I did in the off season. I fell in love with it. It was something awesome. I love the people. I love their energy, and it was just great.
Right on.
Yeah, that's really cool. Especially discovering it and then looking it up and being like, oh, well, the center of United States amateur sumo wrestling is half an hour away from me.
Yeah.
Well, that worked out nicely.
Yeah, no, that worked out great. So you've done a number of the U.S. Sumo Opens, that being like the biggest amateur tournament in the country, of course, but also right there in L.A. What was your history with that? How have you done in the U.S. Open in recent years?
Yeah, so I missed out on the 2016 Open. I think it happened maybe right before I joined the club, and so Andrew was kind of pushing me the entire year to do the 2017 Open. Takeshi was really pushing me to do it, and usually in the months leading up to the Open, we get kind of like an influx of local heavyweights coming in to train. And so like usually I'm training with Takeshi and Justin and some other guys like John Toigo at the time, lighter weight guys. These are lightweights, and I'm pushing 320 pounds at the time. So it's like, it's a different workout. But when these heavyweights came in and I was doing well, I was like, you know what, I could probably do this. So I did the US Open that first time in 2017. Did pretty good. I beat some pretty big names. I beat Mandeep, the British champion out there in the semifinal match. I got to train and I faced off with Rami. I got to mix it up with Biamba in tournament. I had never trained with him. I never met him. And so he really had like Yokozuna energy in the ring. It was overwhelming. I was still kind of new, but we had a good little match, and rest his soul. But I'm glad I have that experience with a guy like that in the ring so early on in my career.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and so it looks like the best result that you had was 2018. You got bronze, and the only 2 losses on your record, or excuse me, 2018 nationals. I'm sorry. Why don't we talk more about the U.S. Open, because I had some other questions on that. But yeah, so
Sure.
the U.S. Open is this bigger one. It's more of like an arena show than like a club show. But like, how does that crowd compare? Like, what is that?
You mentioned the roar and engagement of the crowd. Describe a little bit of that.
Yeah, so I mean, Andrew and the other announcers do a really great job at getting the crowd hype. But like something I wasn't expecting going into my second U.S. Open was how many of the fans remember you. Like I went into the ring for my first couple matches, and you hear Danny, and then I'm walking around on the sideline, and they're like, "Oh, Danny, I've been watching all your videos on YouTube," and like these people know who I am. They know where I go to school. They know like what I'm about, and it's just like it's crazy. And the energy in the Walter Pyramid is just everything's pointing down onto the center mat, and it's just like it's really unreal. Like I can only imagine how a tournament in Japan is, but that's like it's very high stakes you feel in your mind. And I think it's something that I know I did, but it's something people can struggle with if they're not ready for that kind of attention. And the US Open is really a tournament like no other. And it's amazing that Andrew's been able to put it on consecutively all this time, even through COVID. And I can't wait to see what we do moving forward. But if we can get most regional tournaments to that kind of like roar and crowd activity and just fan base wise, it'd be awesome for the sport.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, we get something even like half that size in like Texas, Florida, Midwest somewhere. Then we'd be cooking with gas.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
But yeah, so like that tournament though, it is just like it's its own standalone thing. It's not like the national title or the international title or something like that. So you have done more than just this year. You've done some nationals. And so the bullet point that I was reading ahead accidentally just a minute ago there was
You're excited too, Jake. It's okay.
I know I'm
It's
excited
okay.
too. I'm excited too. But 2018 nationals, you got a bronze medal, losing only to Roy Sims and Robert Fuimono, which is a crazy record. That is those are not bad losses whatsoever.
Not at all.
What would you consider that like your best accomplishment so far, or how does that compare to like the U.S. Open or versus getting your bronze in light heavyweight this most recent nationals?
I definitely think that that 2018 nationals was probably the start of really something great in my sumo career. I've been a guy that the entire time I've been doing sumo, I'm right on the cusp of breaking the podium, and I'm right on the cusp of being like a really great wrestler. But like the guys I'm losing to are like Roy Sims, Robert Fuimono, Cornelius Booker, Trent Sable in the Open, Rami, Biamba. You know what I mean? Like I'm losing to the guys that I aspire to be. And
Yeah.
then
You're losing to the cream of the crop, so
Legends.
there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
and what really solidified that drive and that motivation for me was the bronze medal match at that nationals was against Kelly Knighting.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was a match. Kelly was on fire that tournament. I had game planned in my head how the match was going to go 1,000 times, and it for me to pull out that win, it was reassuring to me that I was on the right path and I was doing something right. That I was able to compete at the highest level of American sumo, and so to me, the 2018 nationals for me is probably the big contributing factor as to why I'm so passionate about what I do.
Sure. Yeah, you're not
That makes
necessarily
sense.
losing to the tier above or anything like that. You're now part of that tier, and you're going to trade wins and losses with those guys here and there. But no, that's really cool. And I'm glad you're healing up and you're ready to compete again. Anything on the calendar already for your next tournament, or any plans for travel already, or what's next for you?
Where can we find you next? At what tournament
exactly.
will you be popping back up to kick ass?
Tournaments, I don't know. I think I really want to this next maybe year of sumo, because I graduate college on May 14th. So
cool.
my schedule's appreciate it. My schedule's really going to open up. I'm coaching high school football. I've got a job lined up, but I'll really be able to dedicate myself to training for sumo year round. And so what I really want to focus on this next year is getting out to camps. I just want to get out to I want to fly to Texas. I want to train with Justin and all the Dark Circle Club and Corey Morrison and everything they're doing in Dallas. I want to train with those guys. I want to get out to Florida, train with the Iron
Coringa and
Belly.
the Iron Wave.
Yeah.
100%. Train with all those guys and just I want to get good training in, because I think that's what's lacking with me right now is that exterior higher level training. I get great training in LA with Jose and the De La Torre brothers and Joe, and I mean the California club's strong, but I think the diversity with the other clubs in the country is something I really need. And if I can sprinkle a tournament in there once or twice, I wouldn't be too sad about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right on.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Getting around, getting the diversity of training, it'd be great. But like, your training at home is pretty solid too.
I was about to say, he mentioned you got Jose, you've got the De La Torres. I mean,
you got like 3 of the top 10 easily in the top 10 heavyweights. Right there, half an hour from home. So like, it's a good start. But I totally get it. You got to get around, got to mix it up a little bit. Don't get too comfy.
Yeah.
The other thing that you got going for you is you are one of the recently elected board members for the USSF.
Congrats again.
Congrats again. Yes, of course.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So just briefly, if you, I know you already gave your campaign speech and it worked out, of course, but like, what do you see as like things that you can work on with the USSF? What are some of the things that you want to try and help the sumo world improve at, as somebody on the board now?
Yeah, I mean, the immediate focus right now is 100% making us look good for the World Combat Games in Alabama coming up pretty soon. If we can have a good showing, I think it'll give us a lot of leverage in the Olympic Committee, and it'll give us a lot of leverage internationally. So that's the first and foremost. I think over time, we really got to expand the sport. We got to make it more user friendly for the new people coming in. We've got to make it more like home for the people that are staying a while. We got to revamp our social media presence. Podcasts like you guys and the Ohio boys and Sumo Kaboom, like you guys do an amazing job. And if we can build on that and just get our sport out there, I think numbers is the biggest thing. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many. I would assume millions of CrossFitters there are across the country, and that's a wave that I think sumo needs. We need that wave of people that realize this is an amazing sport. It's an easy sport. It's a relatively inexpensive sport compared to like, you're spending $200 to $300 on a jiu-jitsu gi and other $100 to $200 on a monthly gym membership to train jiu-jitsu once or twice a week. You know what I mean? So it's a sport that I think needs a little more productivity in regards to numbers and participation. That's going to be my focus, and working with the other newly elected board members and Ed, and I think that should be our focus, and that's what we're going to work towards.
I like it.
Yeah, especially that part about the podcast. I know that you guys have a couple $100,000 set aside for media budget to help, cover our expenses. But
Indeed.
Anything you can throw our way would be great, of course.
The private jet,
Yeah, the private jet
hotels.
to take us to nationals was really a nice touch. I do appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. The champagne.
These are terrible things to say. If we had $100,000, I'd be a very happy guy. Right
Oh God, yeah, right.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
that's the goal, is to get there. If we can get 100,000 in our bank account,
slowly we'll get
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Well, anyways, why don't we close out with the next Pro Basho will be starting the weekend that we're releasing this interview. The next professional Japanese tournament. You mentioned that you watched a lot when Hakuho was still around. He was one of the guys that you like to watch. But who do you have for this next tournament? Are you going to be paying too close attention to it? You got anybody in mind that you want to pick to win it, or what do you think?
I just really want some of the guys to come back healthy again. I want Terunofuji to come back and be another presence like he was. Right after Hakuho retired, he kind of carried the torch for a little bit, but with those knees, man, it's rough to get back into it. So
we
I like that a lot
all
of
the time.
Yeah, I like that a lot of the newcomers are kind of making some headway. Wakataka, the last couple times around, have been solid. Hashoru's getting a lot of attention in the media, so those guys are definitely people to look out for. I've got all my favorite, kind of like consistent guys. I'm a big oh my goodness, I forget his name, but Okunaomi, I love watching him wrestle. I love all those like old timey guys, and just seeing them compete, seeing how they fluctuate with the new guys coming in, the old guys recovering from injuries. It's going to be an exciting Bajo.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Danny. If somebody wanted to find Danny Avila, see some of his matches, check out his Instagram or what have you, where can they look you up?
I'm all over YouTube. Instagram is I'm_Avila. So IM_AVILA. I'm on Facebook, Daniel Avila. Those are the two biggest social medias. And then, I'm all over YouTube. So
excellent.
And you train with the guys at the Yamamoto Sumo Dojo, right?
Always. Got practice this Sunday, so I'm excited.
Awesome.
Excellent. I hope that foot holds up for you, and we'll talk to you again real soon, Danny. Thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate you guys. Knock on wood. Good talking to you, fellas.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.